Most people spend their lives chasing productivity as if work itself is the measure of their existence. They wake up, perform, repeat, and slowly, the rhythm of life is reduced to the monotony of tasks. But work was never meant to enslave your spirit. True work arises when you are fully alive, conscious and present, and it flows from the depth of your being rather than from the pressure of obligation. The moment work becomes a mechanical act, you lose touch with life itself. Work should be an expression of life, not a routine that drains your energy or numbs your awareness. When you approach tasks as mere obligations, every movement becomes heavy, every decision becomes mechanical, and every moment feels like a repetition of what has already been done. The body and mind become fatigued, not because of the work itself, but because the work has disconnected from the living intelligence that animates you. When work is lived consciously, it transforms from a burden into an extension of your presence, flowing with vitality and purpose. Presence is the foundation of conscious work. When your mind is fully engaged in the moment, your actions carry clarity and precision, and effort is replaced by ease. You no longer move blindly through routines. Instead, every task, no matter how small, becomes a deliberate act. This awareness prevents your body from becoming a machine executing commands and allows your energy to circulate freely, nourishing both your physical and mental faculties. Work ceases to be a task and becomes a dialogue between you and life itself. Repetition and routine do not have to drain you if you cultivate mindfulness. Even the most monotonous tasks can become opportunities to sharpen awareness and deepen engagement. By observing your movements, breathing and thoughts, you prevent the mind from slipping into autopilot. This mindful approach transforms the ordinary into extraordinary, making every action purposeful and every moment alive. The distinction between work and life blurs, and you realize that life itself is not outside your work, it flows through it. Respecting the natural rhythms of the body and mind is essential to avoid becoming mechanical. Pushing beyond limits or forcing productivity creates fatigue, stress, and alienation. By honoring energy cycles, taking pauses, and synchronizing effort with your own internal rhythm, work becomes sustainable and even joyful. Creativity and intuition flourish when the mind is not exhausted, allowing innovative solutions to arise naturally. Work done with awareness becomes a source of growth, not depletion. When you detach from outcomes and focus on conscious action, work transforms into a living expression of your being. The compulsion to control results fades, and performance is guided by insight rather than anxiety. Your presence elevates every interaction, every project, and every endeavor, creating harmony rather than strain. In this way, work is no longer a mechanical task to endure, but a channel through which life expresses itself, enriching both yourself and the world around you. When your mind is fully in the moment, every action you take carries clarity and intention, and the separation between work and life begins to dissolve. Tasks that once felt heavy or repetitive suddenly become fluid and alive because your awareness is fully engaged. You move with precision, your decisions arise from insight rather than habit, and your energy circulates freely instead of being trapped in tension or distraction. This presence transforms ordinary labor into something vibrant, something that resonates with life itself. When attention is fully directed toward the work at hand, the mind stops wandering into fear, worry, or comparison. You no longer operate on autopilot, reacting mechanically to each task. Instead, every step, every motion, every choice is observed and carried out with awareness. This conscious engagement reduces mental fatigue and strengthens focus, allowing even complex or tedious work to be completed with ease. Presence becomes a tool that elevates the quality of your actions and the depth of your understanding. Effort and struggle are no longer necessary when work is performed with full awareness. The mind is not burdened by outcome or expectation, it moves in rhythm with the task itself. Even tasks that appear mundane can reveal subtle layers of learning and insight when approached consciously. Each action carries a sense of aliveness, and your body and mind begin to work as one, seamlessly integrating thought, intention, and movement. Conscious presence also allows creativity and intuition to emerge naturally. When the mind is not cluttered with distractions, you begin to notice patterns, solutions, and opportunities that would otherwise go unseen. The act of working becomes a form of meditation where attention, awareness, and engagement blend into a single flow. This flow enhances performance, nurtures satisfaction, and prevents the burnout that comes from mechanical repetition or forced effort. By maintaining awareness in every task, you reclaim control over your energy and attention. Work ceases to dominate you, instead, you inhabit each moment fully, allowing life to infuse ordinary activity with meaning. The quality of your work rises, your mind feels lighter, and your sense of fulfillment grows. Presence transforms work from a mechanical duty into a dynamic, living expression of your being where every action reflects awareness, intention, and life itself. Mechanized work is born from fear, pressure, or habit, and it slowly turns life into a repetitive cycle where the body moves but the mind remains trapped. When work is carried out under compulsion or expectation, each task becomes a burden rather than an opportunity, and energy is drained instead of circulated. The mind begins to resist even the simplest actions, and the work that was meant to serve life ends up enslaving it. Fear and habit blind the awareness, reducing effort to a mechanical repetition that has no connection with the vitality of existence. When work is performed with clarity and engagement, it transforms into a living act rather than a chore. The mind is fully present, observing each movement, each decision, and each outcome without distraction. Pressure and anxiety lose their hold because the focus is not on rushing or controlling results, but on aligning with the task itself. In this alignment, effort is no longer exhausting, and even difficult work carries a sense of flow and ease. Conscious engagement brings precision, awareness, and a natural rhythm to every action. Habitual work often separates the worker from the work itself. Tasks are performed automatically, without observation, without learning, and without energy. In this state, the body functions, but the mind is elsewhere, wandering or resisting. This disconnection causes stress and fatigue because energy is constantly being wasted in unconscious resistance. The more habitual the work becomes, the more the worker loses touch with their own presence, turning life into a monotonous performance devoid of joy or insight. Clarity and engagement counteract the traps of mechanized labor by rooting the worker in the present. When you observe your movements, your thoughts, and your intentions, work ceases to be a mere function and becomes an expression of life itself. Each action is infused with awareness, and even repetitive tasks carry new meaning because they are performed consciously. Energy is preserved and amplified rather than drained, allowing the worker to move with vitality instead of fatigue. When work arises from clarity and engagement, it becomes an instrument for growth and awareness. You are no longer bound by fear, pressure, or habit, and your actions resonate with intelligence and presence. This conscious approach creates a balance where productivity does not exhaust, where effort does not suffocate, and where life is neither hurried nor lost. Work becomes an expression of consciousness, a dynamic flow where the individual is fully alive and fully present, capable of achieving without becoming mechanical. Balancing action and stillness is essential because relentless activity without pause exhausts both the body and the mind. When you move constantly, pushing through tasks without allowing moments of rest, energy becomes trapped in tension rather than circulating freely. The mind grows restless, focus diminishes, and even simple decisions feel heavy. Action alone, without stillness, turns work into labor and life itself into a mechanical rhythm rather than a conscious flow. Stillness is not idleness, it is a deliberate pause that allows awareness to deepen. In moments of quiet, the body replenishes itself and the mind gains clarity. You begin to notice patterns, see connections, and respond to situations with intelligence rather than reaction. Without stillness, the mind cannot integrate experience and the body cannot recover. The balance between doing and being creates a rhythm where energy is conserved and used efficiently rather than wasted in struggle and fatigue. Action without awareness often leads to mistakes, frustration and unnecessary effort. When stillness is incorporated into the rhythm of work, the mind becomes sharper and the body more coordinated. You move with precision and intention rather than being driven by compulsion or habit. Tasks that once felt overwhelming begin to feel manageable and work flows with a sense of ease. Balance allows performance to improve without demanding more effort than is necessary, creating a natural efficiency in everything you do. The interplay of action and stillness also strengthens resilience. When challenges arise, a mind trained in both movement and pause can respond flexibly rather than react impulsively. The body is able to sustain longer periods of effort without strain, and the mind is able to process pressure without being consumed by it. Balance allows both the physical and mental faculties to remain at their peak, not through force, but through alignment with natural rhythms and cycles of energy. By practicing this balance consistently, work transforms from a mechanical task into a conscious engagement. Every action is performed with awareness and every pause becomes an opportunity to replenish and reflect. Productivity is heightened without burnout, creativity flourishes, and energy is sustained over long periods. Action and stillness together create a state where the individual functions at full capacity, performing with clarity, presence, and vitality without losing touch with the life force that animates every movement. Repetitive tasks often make the mind dull because they are performed mechanically without attention or awareness. When the mind is not present, every repetition drains energy instead of enhancing skill or understanding. The body may continue moving, but the consciousness becomes disengaged, leaving a sense of fatigue, frustration and monotony. Routine becomes a cage when it is performed blindly, and the more you allow it to dominate your attention, the more distant you become from life itself. Mindfulness transforms repetition into a living practice. When each movement, each action and each decision is observed consciously, even the most ordinary task becomes meaningful. Awareness allows you to see subtleties, notice improvements, and respond intelligently rather than habitually. This transforms work from mechanical labor into an engaged, conscious experience where the body and mind are aligned and fully alive. Performing tasks with full attention also enhances precision and efficiency. When the mind is present, errors are reduced, actions flow smoothly, and energy is used effectively. What once required struggle and effort becomes natural, effortless, and even enjoyable. Mindfulness prevents the mind from slipping into distraction, keeping both thought and action integrated and focused. Repetition performed mindfully also cultivates inner strength. It trains the mind to remain steady and the attention to remain sharp, even in seemingly mundane moments. Over time, habitual reactions diminish and conscious responses take their place. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when approached with awareness, and every task carries the potential for growth and insight. When mindfulness is applied consistently, repetitive tasks cease to dominate consciousness and instead become opportunities for refinement and presence. Work is no longer draining or automatic, it becomes a practice of engagement where energy, attention and awareness circulate freely. Through mindful repetition, routine is elevated into a living, conscious expression of life rather than a mechanical obligation. When work becomes solely a means to an end, it loses its vitality and begins to feel like a burden rather than a source of growth. The mind focuses only on results, deadlines, or rewards, and the joy of engagement disappears. Every task becomes a step toward an outcome, not an expression of life itself. In this state, the body moves, but the spirit is absent and the work becomes mechanical, devoid of creativity, awareness, or fulfillment. Aligning work with purpose restores its soul and transforms it into a living activity. When you connect each action with intention and meaning, even the simplest task carries depth. The mind and body engage fully, not out of compulsion, but from understanding that every movement, every decision contributes to a larger expression of your life. Purpose infuses energy into the work, making effort feel lighter and results more natural. Purpose-driven work encourages presence and awareness. When the mind is focused on meaning rather than mere outcomes, attention sharpens and clarity arises. Decisions are guided by insight instead of habit or pressure. The flow of energy becomes harmonious, and even challenges and obstacles are approached with creativity and intelligence. Work ceases to exhaust and instead nurtures both skill and consciousness. When work is aligned with purpose, it also nurtures resilience and endurance. The body can sustain effort longer because the mind is fully engaged and energy is not wasted on resistance or distraction. The challenges of labor no longer feel like oppression, but become opportunities for learning and growth. Alignment with purpose makes every action purposeful, and even repetitive tasks carry a sense of fulfillment. By giving work meaning beyond immediate outcomes, it transforms into a reflection of your awareness and intention. Productivity becomes conscious and the labor itself becomes enriching. Energy circulates freely through mind, body and spirit, and the work resonates with life rather than being a mechanical obligation. Purpose ensures that every effort is a step toward expansion, creativity, and alignment with the deeper rhythm of existence. The body is not a machine, and treating it as one leads only to exhaustion, strain and inefficiency. Every muscle, every organ, and every system has its own rhythm and natural cycle, and ignoring these cycles disconnects work from life itself. When you push beyond the body's limits, you may produce results temporarily, but the energy that sustains performance diminishes. True efficiency arises not from force, but from understanding and working with the natural flow of your physical and mental energy. Respecting the body's limits allows energy to circulate instead of being trapped in tension. Rest, movement and nourishment are not obstacles to productivity, they are the foundation for sustained performance. When the body is cared for and allowed to operate in harmony with its natural cycles, fatigue is reduced, focus increases, and the mind remains alert. Work performed in alignment with the body's rhythms becomes fluid and effortless rather than mechanical and draining. Energy cycles dictate the pace at which the body and mind function optimally. Pushing against these cycles leads to mistakes, stress, and diminished output. By observing when the body is alert, when it requires rest, and when it can perform at peak capacity, you can schedule effort in a way that maximizes both productivity and well-being. This approach transforms work from a grind into a dynamic interaction between the mind, body and task at hand. Listening to the body fosters awareness and presence. When the body is overworked, the mind becomes foggy and attention scatters, making even simple tasks difficult. When the body is honored and allowed to operate within its natural limits, the mind sharpens, decision-making improves and engagement deepens. Work done in harmony with the body is not only more effective, but also more fulfilling because it integrates effort with living awareness. By respecting the body as a living system rather than a machine, productivity becomes sustainable, energy flows freely, and work gains a sense of rhythm and ease. Tasks are completed with precision without sacrificing vitality, and the mind remains clear and focused throughout. Aligning effort with the body's natural cycles ensures that work does not consume life, but instead becomes a conscious, energetic and integrated expression of the self. Creativity and intuition are the forces that breathe life into work, preventing it from becoming a repetitive, mechanical act. When you rely solely on routine and habit, the mind becomes dull and the body moves without awareness. Creativity invites freshness into each task, allowing you to approach problems with new perspectives and solutions that arise spontaneously rather than through forced effort. Intuition guides decisions that cannot be derived from logic alone, giving your work depth and vitality. When work is guided by intuition, every action carries a sense of precision and purpose that cannot be achieved through habit. The mind senses what needs to be done before the body acts, reducing wasted effort and enhancing efficiency. Creative insight brings innovation to repetitive tasks, turning them into opportunities for discovery rather than burdens to endure. The combination of intuition and creativity transforms ordinary work into an active expression of intelligence and awareness. Relying on intuition also allows you to respond to challenges with flexibility. Situations are rarely identical and mechanical repetition cannot adapt to nuance or change. Intuition senses subtle shifts in the environment, in people, and in circumstances, allowing you to navigate complexities with ease. Creativity complements this by producing novel approaches that elevate the quality of outcomes. Together, they prevent work from stagnating and keep the mind engaged, alert and alive. Creativity and intuition also nurture a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. When each action is guided by awareness and insight, work ceases to feel like a chore and becomes a form of engagement with life itself. Energy flows naturally because the mind is not trapped in rigid routines, and each step carries the excitement of possibility. This approach sustains both mental and emotional vitality, ensuring that effort produces growth rather than fatigue. By integrating creativity and intuition into work, you move beyond the limitations of mechanical repetition. Tasks are completed with intelligence, fluidity and originality, and the mind remains alive throughout the process. Work becomes not merely a duty but a dynamic practice where presence, awareness and life energy are expressed through every action, creating a harmony that transforms both the worker and the work itself. Detachment from outcome allows work to flow without the heavy burden of expectation, worry or fear. When the mind is constantly focused on results, every action is tinged with tension and energy becomes trapped in anticipation rather than used efficiently. This attachment creates a cycle of stress where the body and mind are overworked trying to control variables that are often beyond their reach. By releasing the need to dictate results, work becomes a living, effortless process rather than a source of pressure. When the mind is free from outcome, decisions are guided by clarity and insight rather than anxiety. You observe each situation as it unfolds, responding intelligently rather than reacting compulsively. Mistakes are no longer catastrophic, but become opportunities for learning and refinement. This awareness allows you to maintain focus and energy, ensuring that every step you take is precise, deliberate, and effective without being driven by fear of failure. Detachment also opens space for creativity and innovation. When the mind is not fixated on achieving a specific result, it becomes receptive to possibilities that were previously invisible. Solutions emerge spontaneously, insights flow naturally, and work gains a depth that cannot arise under the weight of constant expectation. Freedom from outcome transforms routine or challenging tasks into opportunities for discovery and growth. Releasing attachment to results also nurtures emotional stability. When outcomes are uncertain or do not meet expectations, the mind does not spiral into frustration or disappointment. Instead, you remain centered and present, able to evaluate, adjust, and continue without emotional fatigue. This steadiness allows sustained performance over long periods, preventing burnout and maintaining clarity and motivation. By working without attachment to outcome, effort itself becomes the source of fulfillment and growth. Productivity is no longer measured solely by results, but by presence, awareness, and engagement. Energy circulates freely through mind and body, attention remains sharp, and each action carries intention. Detachment transforms work into a conscious, dynamic, and life-affirming process where stress and pressure are replaced by flow, clarity, and purpose. When work becomes a conscious act, it transforms from a mere task into an expression of awareness. Every movement, every decision, and every effort is infused with intention rather than being performed mechanically. The individual begins to notice the subtle effects of their actions on their own energy, on the quality of their work, and on the environment around them. Awareness ensures that energy is neither wasted nor misdirected, and each act contributes to a sense of balance and purpose. Conscious work creates harmony within the individual first. When attention is fully engaged, the mind is steady and the body moves with ease. Tension, stress, and distraction naturally diminish because the mind is no longer divided between what is being done and what might happen. The individual experiences a sense of alignment where effort and intention move together, producing results without unnecessary strain or fatigue. This inner balance also enhances focus, precision, and efficiency in all actions. By making work a conscious act, life itself is elevated through the quality of presence brought to each task. Every action resonates with awareness, affecting not just the individual but the space, the people, and the processes surrounding them. Conscious work fosters harmony because it integrates effort with understanding, engagement with purpose, and action with awareness. In this way, work ceases to be a burden or obligation and becomes a living, dynamic expression of both self and environment. To work without becoming a machine is to embrace life fully while performing your duties. It is not about working less or avoiding responsibility, it is about infusing every action with awareness, joy, and purpose. When work flows from consciousness rather than compulsion, it becomes effortless, fulfilling, and transformative. You are no longer a slave to tasks. You become a creator, an orchestrator of life's energy, and a living example that work can serve you without consuming you.